It's time for another edition of Sports Stories from a Random Date, where we go back in the way back machine to a date that the randomizer picks from the 20th century, check out the sports pages of the day, and tell you a story you might not know about. Before we do that, patreon.com/ToddOnSports would love your support there at Patreon. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on this video if you can. You can also click the little bell and you'll get updates anytime I upload a new video. It helps with the analytics, and as we all know as sports fans in 2024, analytics are very important. This time, the randomizer gave me the date May 26, 1982, and we will head to the Windy City of Chicago, where the White Sox were only a half game off the AL West lead, but as is often the case in Chicagoland, the Cubs were stealing the headlines. The headline grabber on that day was Ferguson Jenkins, who a day earlier had become the 7th player in Major League Baseball history to record 3,000 strikeouts in a 2-1 Cubs loss in San Diego. Gary Templeton was the victim for the Padres, but the San Diego shortstop got a nice surprise after the game when he was gifted Fergie's 3,000 strikeout ball. It included a personal note that said, "Tempy, thanks for 3,000, Fergie." There's a good chance you've heard of Ferguson Jenkins before, but you likely don't fully understand just how incredible of an athlete he was. Jenkins broke into the majors in 1965 at the age of 22 with the Phillies. During the 1966 season, he was traded to Chicago and had an immediate impact. He won 20 games and made the All-Star team his first full year with the Cubs in '67. Jenkins spent 7+ seasons with the Cubs. He made 3 All-Star appearances, won 20+ games in 6 of those 7 seasons, and won the NL Cy Young Award in 1971. Fergie went on to pitch for the Rangers, then the Red Sox, then back to the Rangers. He finished out his career with the Cubs in '82 and '83, and he retired at the age of 40. But Ferguson Jenkins wasn't just a great baseball player. He was a great athlete, full stop. A rare Canadian Major League star, growing up, Fergie played ice hockey, ran track and field, and played basketball in his hometown of Chatham, Ontario, Canada. After his All-Star season for the Cubs in 1967, the Harlem Globetrotters, who were headquartered in Chicago at the time, approached Jenkins to see if he wanted to travel with them during the baseball offseason. You see, the Globetrotters were headed to Canada, and having the Canadian-born Jenkins seemed like a great fit for their tour. So Fergie agreed, and the relationship turned out to be even better than Jenkins or the Globetrotters could have ever imagined. Fergie could play ball a little bit too, and even though he only played 1 quarter every game, he held his own on the court with the Globetrotters. In true Globetrotters fashion, there was a skit involved. At the start of the 3rd quarter, Curly Neal would say to the crowd, "Let's play some baseball." At which point, Neal would squat down like a catcher, and his teammate Bobby Joe Mason would wind up and pitch to him with the basketball. After a couple wild pitches, Neal would act frustrated and then introduce Jenkins, who would rip off his warm-up and pitch to Neal, and Globetrotter legend Meadowlark Lemon would step up to the plate and hit a quote-unquote home run off of Jenkins. Fergie would then stay on the court and play the 3rd quarter with the Globetrotters. It went so well that the Harlem Globetrotters asked him to continue the tour with them. Jenkins played 40 games in that first year. He toured with them again in '68 and '69, but after the '69 season, Fergie was gassed and hung up the Globetrotters jersey for good to concentrate only on baseball. All in all, Ferguson Jenkins played 19 seasons and never made the playoffs. After retiring from Major League Baseball, he pitched for the London Majors, a minor league team, I know how weird that sounds, in London, Ontario, Canada. He ran for political office, and he was the commissioner of the now defunct Canadian Baseball League, which didn't even make it through its inaugural season in 2003. The Canadian Baseball Championship Trophy that was to be given to the winner of the CBL was called the Ferguson Jenkins Cup. But no team ever won the trophy since they never made it through a season, and after the league folded, the trophy disappeared and no one has seen it since. Only 2 Canadians have ever won the Cy Young Award, Ferguson Jenkins and Eric Gagne. Only 2 Canadians have been inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, Ferguson Jenkins and Larry Walker. Only 2 Canadians have struck out 2,000 batters, Ferguson Jenkins and Ryan Dempster. But only 1 Canadian has hit the 3,000 K mark, and that's Ferguson Jenkins, the Globetrotter and flamethrower from Chatham, Ontario, Canada. And that's what they were talking about in the papers on May 26, 1982.